Hey folks, Keough here with a new training video for you. I am starting uh, the first day of my first mesocycle for this training cycle in preparation for my July meet. So this is what I'm calling a 2-week introductory cycle, and this is my first deadlift session. You're going to see me do 3 sets of 4 with 440, which I think equals out to about 75%, a little over 75% of my 1 rep max. And then you're going to see me do 3 sets of 3 with 460, and that is right about 80% of my max. And so the total volume I'm looking for on this day is around 20 repetitions. I'm going to end up doing 20 reps between 75 and 80%, spaced out over 6 sets. And additionally, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10, though you're only going to see 2, in which I'm going to pull 50% of my max from a 2.5 inch block. And so my reasoning for training in this way is at my last meet, when I watched my lifts, I'm pretty happy at this point with my speed off of the floor, and I'm pretty happy with the positioning of my hips, but I've developed a sort of strange hitch. It's not even fair to call it a hitch, because that word is loaded when I talk about a deadlift, but it's this funky little stopping point a couple inches above my knees, and it's probably partly a strength issue, and it's probably partly a mechanical issue as well. And what happens is I leave my shoulders out in front of the bar, and actually in front of my knees, and I lose so much momentum that sometimes I have to stop. The bar almost stops a couple inches over my knees, and I have to recover it in order to be able to lock it out. And the recovery involves just allowing myself to restart with the weight, and it's a very strange experience. I don't know how actually to explain it to you. And at my last meet, I got 1 red light for what the judge thought was hitching, because if you watch the video, I stop and then I start again, and it looks like I hitch, but actually what's going on, and this is the really weird part, is my shoulders are in front of my knees, so I'm basically doing sort of like the opposite of a hitch. I'm doing what I call an anti-hitch. And in the past, when I've really struggled with a lockout, what I've done is I've basically locked my knees out and then stiff-legged it the rest of the way. I can't say that. Stiff-legged did it the rest of the way up. And obviously that's not how I want to be locking out my deadlifts. Number 1, there's always a chance that I'm going to get red lighted for it in a competition. Number 2, it's an obvious weakness that's holding me back, and when you have a weakness like this at lockout, you can attack it in a number of different ways. One way to do it is just to identify a particular muscular weakness, and I've tried to do that in the past, where you say, okay, here are the weak muscle groups that aren't engaged at the lockout. Say my glutes are weak, I could do a lot of glute-intensive work, do a lot of training in which glute activation is high, and I've tried that in the past, but it hasn't really been terribly successful for me. Another way to do it is to address it through antithesis, is to look at everything besides the lockout and see if you're doing anything there that's influencing the lockout, because it's obviously you can't look at the lockout in isolation of what comes before it. So I could look at hip position at the start of the lift, I could look at my back rounding, and I could say, well, I'm putting myself in terrible position in order to lock the weight out. And that is certainly true, but the problem with that is if you address that, you don't necessarily produce a bigger deadlift, because I'm gaining a very strong mechanical advantage, and I'm able to produce a lot of speed off the floor. So that's the starting position for me that produces the biggest deadlift. So I have to find out how to improve my lockout in spite of that. Another way to address this, and the simplest way to address this, is to look at it and to address it within the movement. So my theory is that I haven't been just doing enough reps in which I've had to lock out weights that are taxing to me. I'm doing very few lockouts. So what will happen if, say, I'm locking out weights 20 to 30 times per week? So I'm going to be doing a lot of pulling off the floor. This is a new attempt. I'm going to see how it goes this cycle, and I'll make a determination after that. Anyway, keep checking in. More videos for you very soon.